You know, I have to remember that age plays a factor. A small one. I'm not so old that I shouldn't be able to do things, but it's going to be different in your 40s than in your 20s, your recovery time and whatnot. So it's just something else that I've had to learn to figure out, like, what is it like to be healthy in your 40s? I missed, you know, a full decade. Hello everyone, good to see you again. I thought I would try and shoot another video outdoors. I did one like this a little while ago and I really just loved it, and I thought it would be nice for me, nice for you to have a change of scenery in these videos. And I've got this beautiful courtyard where I live in our apartment complex, so I figured might as well make use of it. So I thank you for your patience in advance while you bear with me sometimes, because I can't control what happens outdoors. Sometimes it gets a little bit loud or there's some construction noise. But we're just fingers crossed and hope that this just all goes well. So what I'm going to be doing today in this video is answering some common questions that I get from you guys a lot. I ask you guys to give me suggestions and questions that you'd like me to address in these videos, and you all have been wonderful in giving me a ton of things to talk about. And being the organizational freak that I am, I of course have gone through all of these questions and suggestions that you've given me for videos and put them into a list and categorized them and seen the different themes. And there are definitely a bunch that fall under one umbrella, all one general topic, and that is around my overall recovery, where I'm at now. So do I feel 100% recovered? Do I still have any symptoms? Am I worried that this is going to come back? Just overall what this has been like for me at this stage of my recovery, which is something that I haven't yet talked about at all. So I'm excited to talk about this because I actually didn't think that people would want to hear too much about this. I thought people would be more interested in, you know, my journey of living with the illness, the things that worked to get me better, and I've definitely been talking about those things. So I'll put some links in the video description if you want to see some of those types of videos. But today I'm going to talk about where I'm at right now and answer those questions that you've been sending my way about what this right now has been like for me. Okay, so I am going to answer 5 questions that I've pulled out of this list of questions that I've got from all of you guys that seem to really cover the theme of what a lot of people are asking. All right, the first question I'm going to tackle came from Instagram from an account called Healing Faithfully. And her question was, do you ever get subtle symptoms or are you completely symptom-free? This is a great question and oddly not quite as simple to answer as I would have thought. So as many of you probably already know by now, I had chronic fatigue syndrome or ME for about 10 years. And the first couple of years I was really quite sick, and then I existed for quite a few years in the state of sort of 50% better. And then the last about 2 years-ish that I was sick, I really cracked down and put together my own healing regimen and followed it and worked really hard, and then got myself to a place where I consider myself fully recovered. But finding that spot to call myself completely recovered wasn't as easy as I had once thought it would be. I thought it would be obvious. And I did get to a place after about 18 months of working on this recovery program where, as far as I was concerned, I was completely recovered. I was working out vigorously 5 days a week. I felt like I could do virtually anything that I wanted. You know, I was hiking and surfing and traveling and just really felt like I had no limits. So I thought, yeah, I'm back. I am back, 18 months, and I am good. But then over the course of about the next 6 months or so, I started noticing that there were some things that I still couldn't do that I felt that a fully recovered person should be able to do. I read a book called Younger Next Year. It's really just excellent. So I was really excited about the suggestions that this book had, and most of them were things that I was already doing. But one thing, when they talked about exercise, their recommendation was to be working out vigorously 6 days per week, and I was currently only doing 5. So I thought, okay, no problem, I'll just up it to 6. And just adding on that extra day, removing that one of the 2 rest days that I had every week, proved to be quite difficult. And it actually took me quite a while to be able to consistently get up to 6 days a week. And I felt that a fully healthy, a fully recovered person would be okay with managing 6 days a week. Whereas when I tried 6 days a week, I started seeing some of those, what seemed like some of those telltale CFS ME symptoms come back, in that my recovery felt too long. It felt like it was making me too exhausted and making it hard to keep up with the rest of my life. So perhaps I could do the 6 days, but I couldn't keep doing all the other stuff in life that I wanted and needed to be doing. So to me, that was a sign that I wasn't quite there yet. So I kept going, I kept working, I kept plugging away. I eventually got to the 6 days a week of working out, even though it was difficult at first. But I did get to a point where I could do the 6 days and it wasn't dragging me down during the rest of my life. So I could get up 6 days a week, go to the gym or go for a run, and then go through the rest of my day, and I was fine. So now I'd say it took about 2 years of that intense work on myself to come to a place where I was fully recovered. I saw some other things too after that 18 months that made me think, maybe I'm not quite as far as I think I am. One of my gurus, Rachel Hollis, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with her. I absolutely just love everything that she puts out. She inspires me every single day. So if you are not already all over her books and YouTube and Instagram and everything else she does, conferences, then I would definitely recommend giving her stuff a peek. But she was talking about, she does these insane conferences where thousands of people come, and she is on stage during the day for hours. And she talked about getting up at the beginning of these days at 4 in the morning or something crazy to go to the gym before she went and hosted this full day conference with thousands of people, where she is high energy, dancing, bouncing around on the stage, go, 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 responsible for keeping all these thousands of people engaged for the whole day. And I thought, I couldn't do that. Where was I? It's never a dull moment in this city. So anyways, Rachel Hollis, getting up, going to the gym, doing her grueling workout before she was going to do her full day conference, hosting it, and I thought I couldn't do that. I would have to skip the gym that day. I just don't have enough energy to do both. So there were little things like this over time that made me realize, I think I'm fully recovered, but maybe I'm actually not. Yes. Now, right now, I do feel like I'm fully recovered, and there may still be things that come up where I think, oh, I see that I'm lagging compared to people who I consider to be completely healthy. So maybe there will still be some things that will open my eyes to some limitations that I still have, that either I can't see or I'm not willing to see. But right now, I consider myself fully recovered. I can get up, go to the gym, do a grueling workout, still have a really full day of activities, just a really full-on day, and I'll be okay. At the end of the day, I'll be tired, but I think everybody's tired at the end of a day like that. So, you know, there'll be some times on the weekend when my husband Jeffrey and I, and we'll go out during the day and we'll just have a really busy day, and maybe we'll be out biking all day, you know, go out for a run, just do lots of really active stuff, and then we'll come back at the end of the day and I'll just feel beat. Like I really will just feel exhausted, and I'll think, is this normal? Should I feel this tired? But then I'll look over at him and he is out cold before I can even finish that thought. So it's a weird after effect from chronic fatigue syndrome that I seem to have lost perspective of what normal tired is. And the way I have come to classify my tired as being normal tired and not chronic fatigue syndrome tired is that on those days when I come back and I'm exhausted and I feel like I'm wrecked, and those old feelings come back like, wow, I'm gonna be laid out for the rest of the night. You know, is tomorrow gonna be rough? But I'll just rest for a bit. You know, I'll rest on the couch for an hour or two, watch TV, read a book, whatever. and then I'll feel better, and then I can get up and I can cook dinner, or I can go out in the evening. So rest now is restorative, and exhaustion is short term, and it is alleviated by rest. So I do feel like I'm okay now. It's interesting because the last time I was healthy, I was 30 years old when I got chronic fatigue syndrome. So the only frame of reference I have personally for health is my 20-year-old self, what it felt like to be 20 and healthy. And now I am 42 and I consider myself healthy. And that's not going to feel the same as a 20-something-year-old me. So sometimes I have to remember that age plays a factor. A small one. I'm not so old that I shouldn't be able to do things, but it's going to be different in your 40s than in your 20s, your recovery time and whatnot. So it's just something else that I've had to learn to figure out, like, what is it like to be healthy in your 40s? I missed, a full decade. And another question that comes up frequently related to this one is, are you 100% better? And I believe I've pretty much just addressed that. The only thing that I would add is that there is a bit of a defense mechanism happening with me as well, is that I have to believe that I am. It's the only choice I have right now. I have to believe that I'm 100% better, because thinking anything else is just too scary for me. This has to be behind me. I have to be done with this. I feel good. I'm living my life. I feel like I don't have limitations, or not any limitations that any other healthy 40-something-year-old has. So the only thing that I will say, that I will believe, that I will internalize is that I am good. I am back, because this healthy mindset was such a big part of my recovery, and I think it will be such a big part of my health moving forward. People sometimes ask, how do you know you're recovered? And it's just that overall endurance for life goes up. I can do the things I want to do, and the fear disappears. That fear of, okay, I have this activity I have to go to. Will I be able to get through it? I'm not scared of life anymore. I'm not scared of how I'll get through it. And I no longer need naps. Every once in a while I'll take one. I think most people do, but I used to need them. They were written in stone. I could not get through my life without them. You know what I'm talking about, right? Those naps, they are essential. And now I don't nap anymore. It is so freeing and so amazing, because there's stress around the naps as well, even when you're partially or even close to fully recovered, because you're thinking, where am I going to fit that in? How am I going to fit that in? Where? How? What? How am I going to get this sleep? And now I just, I know that I can, even if I'm a bit tired, I can still get through the day, no problem, without that nap. All right, another question I pulled off my list. This one specifically came from Natalia Howitt on Instagram. She's a friend of mine. Hello, Natalia. She's asked me this a few times. I imagine it's something that a lot of people wonder, and it's certainly a question I've got from other people as well. And that's, do you live in fear that CFS or ME will come back one day? So am I scared this will come back? Am I scared that I'm not really done with all this? Am I scared that this whole nightmare might appear in my life once again? And the answer is no, not even a little bit. And it's not because, I don't think it's because I'm naive. And it's not because I think I'm some superhuman that is now impervious to illness or disease, or that I'm some special case that this won't happen to, because I'm sure it's happened to other people. It's because, just like with the attitude of full recovery, it's a protective mechanism for me. I cannot even let myself think that it's possible for it to come back. One, because I in some way feel like that is inviting it back, whether that makes sense or not. I just don't even want to open that up in my mind. And two, it's just too terrifying of a thing for me to think about. I can't even force my mind to go there. It's just a wall that pops up in my brain and says, nope, we're not even going there. We're not even contemplating this happening again. It won't happen again. Just live your life, enjoy your life, and do not devote even 1 second to worrying about this. So essentially, my denial that this is possible for me keeps the fear at bay. And sometimes denial is an unhealthy thing, but right now I think it's serving as a protective mechanism for me, so I'm embracing it. With everything that's happening right now with the coronavirus, I think it's stirring up a lot of fear in a lot of us, because my chronic fatigue syndrome was a viral onset. I got a really bad virus, and then it took me over a decade to get better. So I thought the coronavirus may not be fatal for me, but what if it reactivated this chronic fatigue syndrome in my body somehow? What if this set me back to day one and I had to start all over? And I felt this wall just go up, just slam shut in my brain, and I just couldn't even go there. I don't even have the ability to think about it right now. So no, for better or worse, I do not live in fear. I do not worry about it coming back one bit. I'm just living my life, enjoying my life, and expecting the best. I don't view my health the same way I used to. I used to think of myself as this sort of sitting duck that could be struck down by anything at any point in time. And I'm sure to a certain extent that's true. But I now believe personally that we have a lot more control over our health than we think we do. So it's not like I just sit around waiting to be struck by something again, waiting for something to hit me and make me sick. I now believe that by taking care of myself and doing all the things in my power to keep my body strong, that I am taking charge of that, and I am significantly minimizing those risks of getting sick again. So it's been an empowering experience. All right, next question. Another question that I get a lot, that I get from a lot of different people, and I would just really have to dig to find out all the different places that this one has popped up. It's that, do you still have to do all the stuff that you had to do to get you well? What are you still doing right now? So that is an excellent question, and I really love this question because it shows me, it really highlights for me the shift, the mindset shift that I've had since when I first got sick. You know, there's been a lot of trauma and a lot of pain and a lot of stress that came with this illness in living with chronic fatigue syndrome for so many years, but there's also been a lot of good. And one of those things is that I no longer view taking care of myself in the same way that I used to. It's not a chore anymore. Exercise isn't punishment. Eating healthy isn't some experience of loading my plate up with a bunch of food that I don't want to be eating, but I'm eating because I should. It's just, everything's just so completely different. And this recovery from chronic fatigue syndrome for me wasn't a one-time transformation. It wasn't like I took a pill or I did some special therapy and then boom, I was better. You know, it was a ton of work building my body back up and getting healthy again. And none of that stops for me now that I'm better. It is business as usual on all fronts. I still do it all. The only difference is that it's easier for me to do these things now than it was when I was 6. And things aren't just enjoyable, things feel like a gift. Like the ability to exercise 6 days a week is a gift. I love it. I love exercise. When I'm at the gym, I am exploding with endorphins and adrenaline. I am forever thinking that this might be currently my favorite place in the world to be, which might sound strange, and the answer should probably be that I'd really like to be with family or friends or helping people or giving back to my community. But right now, those things are important, but they are not number one. And I can almost guarantee that if you took away someone's ability to eat for a really long time, that for a while, their favorite place to be is gonna be at a buffet. So for someone like me who really grew to love exercise in my 20s and then had that taken away from me, to finally get it back really feels like a gift. And it's the same thing with food. I look at all the amazing, nutritious food that I eat every single day, and it just feels I just feel fortunate because I look at my grocery cart that I pack up every single week, and it's just packed full of fresh produce. And I just think how amazing, because I know there are so many people in the world that do not have the ability to eat this way. They do not have the luxury the privilege of eating this way. Their reality prevents them from it. So I'm just so grateful to have the time, the energy, the resources to put these really delicious, tasty, healthy meals on the table. And I'm sure as many of you know or have found yourself, when you change the way you eat, you change your taste buds. So that old crap food no longer holds the same appeal. And this new, healthy, nutritious food is really thoroughly enjoyable and can beat out any junk food, fast food that's out there. And I'm now acutely aware of the price of not taking care of yourself, the consequences of what happens when you don't do that. I think it's easy to live in denial with your head in the sand and think, oh, it'll be fine. I'll just keep eating junk food. I'll keep eating all this sugar. I'll keep living a sedentary life, not exercising and drinking a bunch of alcohol or doing drugs or whatever it is, and I'll be fine. It'll be okay. I'll straighten myself out when it's older. But it's not. For most people, it's not. There are serious consequences for us. There is a high price that we have to pay, a lot of suffering. So it's just not worth it anymore. It's just not even worth it. So to that question, do I have to keep doing all of those things that I had to do to get me well? No, I don't have to. I get to now. It's really exciting. There's a quote I saw somewhere, and I apologize, I don't know who's responsible for it, but it has to do with success, and I've adapted it a little bit for the health world. And it's that health is never owned. It's rented, and the rent is due every single day. So if I want to keep living in this energetic, healthy, vibrant state that I'm at with no limits, getting to do all the things that I want to do, then every single day I need to keep showing up for myself and doing all the things that I need to do to take care of myself. So yeah, I still do it all. And the final thing I'd like to talk about today is just generally how it feels to be past all of this. And I wish I could send this video back to me, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, especially 10 years ago, because when I was at my sickest, I used to really wonder about this. Because this illness, getting so sick so fast and having my life almost completely stripped away from me almost overnight, was a trauma for me. It was a traumatic experience. I really struggled, and even once my health improved, life was still incredibly difficult every single day for many years. There was not a single day, not one, that wasn't a struggle that I had to figure out how to get through. And I always used to wonder, if and when I get past this, will I ever be able to really get past this? Like, how am I going to put this behind me, this whole trial, all of this, as if it never happened? Like, will I be able to just set it down and move on? How do you put down something so heavy, so traumatic, and then live your life as if you never went through any of it? And the way that I'm finding to deal with this, the way that I'm finding that I'm being able to move on quite peacefully, is by doing what I'm doing right now in this video, in sharing my story. Even though I didn't connect with people with chronic fatigue syndrome while I was still sick, for whatever reason, I just wasn't in a place where I felt like that was going to help me. I just felt like I need these barriers up around me to just not even let any more sickness in. I didn't feel like I could take on any more. But now, connecting with as many people as I can out there who are suffering from chronic fatigue syndrome, ME, has been just amazing and really therapeutic, and is a way for me to move on without having to pretend like none of it ever happened, without pretending that this isn't a piece of who I am now. So through my Instagram account, which is Raelan.Agle, if you want to find me there, it's a really great way to bridge the gap between YouTube videos, a great place to chat and just get to know each other a little bit better. So please come say hello there. But through all the conversations I have on Instagram and through this interaction through YouTube here, sharing my story and talking with all of you, and in writing my book, it was hugely therapeutic because I spent hundreds of hours on that, and it was probably the best therapy of all. And then in addition to that, I have gone to actual counseling, and I do all the journaling and the meditating, and I'm doing the work. So I am thankfully able to just be in a place of mostly at peace with all of this. The only thing that I still really struggle with is seeing how many other people out there that are still struggling with CFS or ME. It really is just devastating and heartbreaking for me, because I know how hellish this illness is. I know how devastating it can be for people's lives. And to think that there are still so many people still trapped in that, it really is a hard thing, a heavy thing for me to carry in my heart. But the way, again, that I manage that is by feeling that if I do what I can every day to connect with all of you, share my experience, maybe there's something in there that resonates or sparks something for you to think that maybe you could try to get well. But by doing this, by doing my part to help pull others out of this as well, to help others pull themselves out of this as well, because I certainly do not have the ability to pull anybody else out. Only you have that. But if I can hold your hand for a little bit in that process, if I can be your friend, if I can provide some inspiration, some hope, some motivation, then I'm better able to be at peace with all of this. And although overall I think the gratitude in life is so important, every single night when I go to bed, when I close my eyes, the first thing I do is think of 3 things for my day that I'm grateful for, because it just gives me a more positive perspective on life. And it gives me this bias towards positivity, because now that I know that every single night before I go to bed I'm going to have to come up with 3 things I'm grateful for, during the day I'm looking for those things. So overall I think gratitude is incredibly important in life. But when it comes to my health, it's one place where I find that I actually don't fixate on it, because I'm not going through life thinking, oh, I'm so glad I can do this. I'm so glad I can go hiking. I'm so glad I can go biking. Oh, look what I'm doing now. I wouldn't have been able to do this 5 years ago. Of course I have moments like that, but I don't go there a lot. Because for me, I feel like it takes away from my current joy. I don't want all of my current joy to be linked or anchored to some painful experience in the past. I think it's kind of like when you go on holidays. Like, picture you're on some tropical vacation on some textbook tropical island. And of course you have moments where you're like, oh, I'm so glad I'm not at work. I'm so glad I'm missing out on all of the stress that comes along with that. But you're not going through all of your day every day thinking, oh, right now I'd be in this meeting, or I'm so glad I don't have to work on that project, or you want to let go of it. You want to forget about it. You just want to get lost in the moment and get lost in the joy and the bliss of what's going on and just live your life and put that all behind you, because that's not where you're at in that moment. So with my health, I find the gratitude piece, even though overall, of course, it's there. Overall, I'm of course very grateful. It's just not something that I'm fixating on day to day, hour to hour throughout my life. So thank you, and please keep the questions and comments and suggestions coming, so I know how to best make these videos in a way that will serve you, that will serve our fellow Spoonies. And because of you, this video today exists, and it's one more resource out there for people to use or not, but at least it's there for those who are looking for more information on the topic of chronic fatigue syndrome. And if you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. It helps me, but again, it also helps this video get into the hands of other people. It shows the algorithm that this is a video worth sharing, and it will put it in front of other people who might be able to benefit from it. So like, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and ring that little gray bell and you'll get notifications when my future videos come out. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Yeah.
Holy shit, I'm just wrapping up space-time.
Sorry?
Space-time. Just wrapping it up. Tell the followers.
Okay. Hey!
Space-time continuum was falling apart. Isaac Thorne's here. I'm a time traveler. I disappeared, but I came crawling on my hands and knees through the space-time continuum. I fixed it. We're good. We're in the pocket. Everything's fine. The snakes are happy. Fucking A, right?
Right on. Where was I? Sirens. So many sirens. One of my Rachels. I'm forever scouting out. I'm like, who's coming? Where's the noise coming from? Behind an emergence. You know, there'll be some days You know, there'll be some days on the weekend.